Welcome back to the Heart and Home channel, everybody. We are back for episode 18. This week we are going to be starting on the roof, which is exciting. First off, with fixing just a couple little things here and there, finishing straightening the roof, which shouldn't take too long, and then we're going to be doing the bubble wrap insulation and then onto steel. I don't know 100% if we're going to get onto steel or not. It kind of just depends on how long the bubble wrap takes, but I am excited nonetheless, and definitely don't know what I'm doing here. So we're gonna experiment with some things on how to move around on the purlin safely, and yeah, so that'll be pretty interesting. So let's get going. First thing to fix here is this small bend here. You see it's just barely poking out a little bit, but just for consistency's sake, I want to make sure that that is as straight as possible. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna do the last little adjustment here for making the roof square. And once we got that, then we're going to figure out how the heck to move around up here and not fall through. Okay, so after rechecking the diagonals of the roof here, we are actually only a ½ inch off, which is great. It's almost not even worth correcting, but knowing that will bother me if I don't. So I'm going to correct that as best as I can, and we'll just keep going from there. Okay, we're all squared up now. This thing's not even very tight. As you can see, I can wiggle it quite a bit. Now it's time for bubble wrap. I have no idea what I'm doing. All right, so step one here is making something that I'm calling knee skis. Basically just going to be on my knees here on these 2x4s, and then put some straps that go behind my knees here, and maybe a handle up top here, with some ratchet straps. And then that will help me sort of basically give me a place to help me have an easier time shimmying up and down the purlins, since we don't have any plywood or anything like that. This would certainly be a lot easier if we had plywood, but we're just gotta deal with what we got, so that will be good. And then I think we'll be ready to go. I don't know, we'll see. I'm kind of nervous. Okay, so this is probably one of the worst ideas I've ever had, but not really sure what else to do, so we're just gonna try this out. But the idea here is that I got 2 straps that go behind my knees, and then 1 strap up here for an additional handle so that I can move them around a little bit more easily. So I've got 2 screws in the back that kind of keep the straps in place, and then I put a 3rd screw that kind of crosses those 2 that keeps them from coming out of that slot. And then up top here, I just sort of wrap them around the 2 top screws, and that should be good enough to keep them in place. So we're just going to test this out here real quick and see how awful of an idea this is. Okay. So yeah, just kind of moves like this. You can kind of snake them around. Yeah, it's not too bad. I definitely will have to take it a little slow while I'm up there. Whoa! Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be interesting. I may scrap this idea wholly. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so clearly it's too windy here to do my first idea, which was use a rope to pull it to the top. It's not even very windy out today. It's just a light little gust, but that much of a sail is just gonna take off. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to roll it up from the bottom. It's gonna be a little bit tricky with the skis method, but I think that's the only option. So I'm gonna have to give that a shot. Well, that was a pretty bad failure. The idea wasn't too terrible, but the execution was awful, and my straps were coming undone and my knee pads were coming out from under my knees, and just generally not so good. So now I'm gonna try maybe an easier solution and just try and staple. Oh, that's not gonna work, but it'll work for this first one. I'm just gonna try and staple it from both sides and see how that goes. It's gonna be kind of a pain, but let's try it. Well, I'm feeling a little bit frustrated. I don't really have enough time to fully staple this sheet down, and if I just tack it in, it's just gonna get blown off and ripped. So I'm just gonna have to call the day early and waste a bunch of time. I don't have enough time left in the day, so I just gotta pack up. And I guess we'll just mull it over a bit tonight and hopefully come up with a better way to do this going forward. All right, it's Monday morning and had the weekend to rest a little bit, or at least Sunday anyway, when he had to work, so I took the day off. Feeling pretty exhausted. Everything that we did on Saturday definitely left me feeling a bit sore and a bit extra exhausted than usual. But time off gave me some good time to think, and I think I've come up with a better solution here that should be a bit easier, though more time consuming than I thought my other plan was going to be. So the plan now is to measure here, pre-cut the insulation on the ground, and then roll it up like a big long Subway sandwich, then put it up long ways up here. That should help negate what the wind was doing to it last time. Then I'll staple this side here and work my way over to the center of the building. So we'll see if that works, but I think that's really the only way that I can really think of to make this work by myself. So we'll give that a shot. Okay, got our segment cut here. Now I'm just gonna pinch it with a clamp, tie a rope onto it, and then pull it up there and get going from there. So I got the first sheet up. This is just not really my favorite method of insulating the roof here. I don't think I would recommend people do it this way. Yes, it's cheaper. Probably has worked great for some people in a lot of areas, but for me, just with a light breeze here, we pretty much always have a light breeze here, and one, it makes working with this material pretty difficult, and two, I'm already getting tear outs just from a light breeze. So there's going to have to be a lot of repairing. I'm curious to see how it will work now that the whole sheet is fastened down. But honestly, I would not be shocked at all if I came here one morning and this sheet was completely gone. Yeah, I just don't really think this is a great method. I'm probably going to be forced to put on sheet metal on top of this as I am putting these down. I just don't think that this is going to last more than a few days here with the wind. So probably trying to start doing that tomorrow. I'm gonna see how many of these sheets I can get done today. Definitely recommend doing some kind of wood sheeting on top of your roof if you can. Alright, so this is all I'm going to do today. Got 3 rows done. Tomorrow I'm probably going to try and get some sheet metal on there, at least start on it, so we'll see how far we can get on there. And then just put some boards on it right there, just to try and keep the lip of it down so that as the wind blows, it'll hopefully create less damage for me tomorrow. But I'm kind of half expecting everything I did today to be gone tomorrow, so hopefully that's not the case. Okay, so it's the next day now. Thankfully, no progress reset. I did put some 2x4s up there to hold it down overnight. At least that leading edge of it into the wind, so it looks like that at least helped. Now today I am going to be setting up myself to start putting up sheet metal. It's gonna be a little bit interesting doing by myself, but I think I've got a couple ideas on how we're gonna do that okay. I think we're all set up now. I've got a workbench here for the sheet metal that I'll use. Got it somewhat pretty level there, and I'll use that for drilling all my pilot holes. Then I have my ramp here, basically just the scaffolding and some 2x material. And what I'm gonna do, since I'm by myself, working with sheet metal is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna put it on this ramp here after it's done being drilled, and then I'm going to put a rope on it and a clamp, and then I will go to the top and pull it up there. Now it is a little bit windy, so I think I'm gonna have to maybe put some kind of thing on there that's gonna help keep it from flipping over. Probably some 2x material out on the fly rafter there, and then maybe something a little down here just attached to the last little section there that'll kind of go over the top just to help keep it from getting flipped in the wind. Hopefully that'll be enough to make sure nothing crazy happens, so we'll find out, I guess. Okay, got everything laid out here now. My first, all my nail holes all marked, and so now what I'm going to be doing is using this screwdriver bit here with a hammer to make an indentation. That way when I go to drill out all the holes, that it doesn't slip around and cause a bunch of paint chipping. Okay, so it's all ready to go here. Sorry, I can't really see very well. I had a little mess up here on the end. I drilled in a little too short, but that's okay. I believe that the ridge cap will actually cover the holes that I made, and if not, I've got some extra screws from a previous project that I can use to make up the difference. So, okay, it's early morning time. Thankfully, we have a lot less wind today, so that means that the first couple sheets here should be a little bit easier than it would have been yesterday. I got my ramp all set up and got my first little pads under there, and now just need to lift it over there and get everything set up and pull it up. Alright, so the first panel went in okay. There are some issues though. I don't know if you can see them. Sorry, it's really hard for me to see what you can see. I don't know if you can see them up there or not, but there's little pinholes of light by some of the purlins, which means that some of my measurements are a little bit off. So I'm gonna need to do some blocking there and make sure that the screws have something to actually go into. It's kind of a bummer. This is a pretty challenging spot to put blocking in. Good thing I only drilled 2 sheets initially, so we will make adjustments after that. Alright, that's it for this episode, guys. We got this hole, the septic hole dug today. You can see this big old tank is going in there. Fortunately, ran into a bunch of issues this week and was only able to just put in a little bit of the radiant barrier and 1 panel of steel, and there's gonna have to be some fixing. I'm gonna have to nail some support boards underneath some of the screw holes, so that's definitely going to take me an extra bit to get everything done. I'm kind of starting to look at ulterior options for us to finish sooner, perhaps hiring out the concrete company to do our slab prep work. If we want to finish on time, that might actually be something we have to do. So kind of a bummer, but you know, this is just life. You gotta pivot and work with what you got, and life isn't always going to look like what you plan on it being. So I'll see you guys next week. Take care.